Carlos, there we go. Carlos, you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Amazing. Love your
Hey,
podcast, Mike.
Guy, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. Beautiful logo.
Yep.
It's like splashes. Matches your mic. Carlos, we've known each other now for 2 years. I met you first time in Madrid, and then we walked outside and had this like conversation for like 3 hours around a bunch
And
of
then we hacked.
cerveza. What's that?
And then we hacked.
Yep. And and this has been actually repeated a couple of times. And whenever I talk to you, I'm just amazed by the amount of like knowledge and insights you have, and how our brains are just like merging together. So I'm gonna be sitting right here and listening to you because whatever you're gonna say, I know it's gonna be golden.
Thank you, Guy.
Please go ahead.
So, okay, can I share my screen?
Yes,
I
you
guess,
can.
okay, 1 second. I have 3 screens. Let me make sure that I'm not, okay, there. Yeah, there. Okay, so thank you, Guy, again. Okay, apparently I only have 10 minutes, and Guy knows that I like to talk forever. So I'm going to try my best to just, stick to the time, and let's see. Okay, so why me? Why should you listen to what I'm saying here? Well, one is because I'm an engineer, so I love tech. I've been into tech since I was 8 years old, so that's one. And the other one is that I've been a co-living operator since 2012, and I've had many issues running and becoming the operator. And my biggest pain has always been, still is, by the way, one, can I replicate this? Like I have a house, I have a co-living, 20 people, small co-living. Can I have another place and another one, and then at some stage, can I open outside Silicon Valley? And that for me means scaling. And that brings some issues. And one of them is, can I guarantee and assure quality of service and know what's happening in my spaces when I'm not there? So, by the way, I'm going to talk about technology. It's, the title says IoT, but it's a little more than that. IoT, chatbots, and you'll see. But whatever you do, and in my opinion, with technology, don't ever forget, no matter what you do in co-living, everything should stem from community. So in the sense of technology, I would ask, how does tech make our guests' life better? So that is the focus. Of course, there are other issues that, and things that the technology can help, but the main focus should always be this. Um, I uh, I guess that later Guy would tell you that I'm writing a blog. You will see the link of that. But I've written, how can I say, I classified the stages where a co-liver goes. And when you design a technology, you have to take this into account. The way I did this, I classified it was in 7 stages, from discover to include, meaning like depending on if they are before joining your community, during the community, and after. So based on that, the technology has to serve different purposes. So there are 2 types of technologies that I'm going to speak here, that they are combined a really good solution to solve the issues that I'm saying, specifically trying to scale your co-living and measuring the quality of service. Those are chatbots, which, like you can read here, they're a channel of bi-directional channel of communication between you and the guest, and also to your team, by the way. And then IoT, which basically IoT is this. I have I don't know if you see the screen here, because it has this plenty of sensors, but they're just sensors. They don't mean anything until you do something with the data points that you get. So I've identified also 4 categories you can classify the use of technology in a co-living space. Before I come into this, let me explain you or tell you a like typical experience that I like to solve when a co-liver joins my space. Imagine this guy's name is whatever, John, and John just, he's in this stage in the discovery phase, like he just discovers about you, does some research, and some stage he, tries to join your co-living. You should filter him. And then once you have filtered him, meaning that you have selected him to become a co-liver of your space, then he just plans a trip, goes there, and ideally you start chatting with him with a chatbot saying, hey, when are you traveling? When is your flight happening? Can I have the flight number? So you get the flight number. Now you know when the guy arrives. When he arrives, in his case, or in my case, in San Francisco, can you have the chatbot say, hey, John, you just arrived. Huh? Are you there? Okay, I think you just got in the conversation. So like you assume that the guy is already in immigration lane. So you say, hey, this is the address. So you give him the information he needs in the moment he needs it. Do you want me to order an Uber? Then whenever he says yes, he gets the Uber, you have the information, and then the house manager knows that he's arriving. So everything gets ready for him. Of course, on the first stage, when he's just before joining the community, you can use your community with your technology to provide mentorship to this person. So the moment he arrives to your space, he has already lived an experience. He's been helped until he got there. Once he's there, the onboarding should be easy on that. So I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but the thing is, you can use all this technology to provide from the beginning until the end soft landing to your community. So the 4 categories I'm going to talk to today is: 1, community building, that you can use technology. 2nd, service quality and customer satisfaction, experience and operations. And what do I mean with this? So the first one, community building, this is one of the most important one. How can you use it? So in my case, I can give you several examples that I was using it. One is rituals. To build a nice community, you should have a DNA and a culture with things that can, how can I say, amplify this perception of being part of something. And rituals are one of them. In my case, for example, we would take pictures of the colivers when they arrived to the space. We would do an interview of what did they expect in the arrival. In our case, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but we targeted only tech founders. So my vertical was very specific. So that meant that it was easy to get a certain personality to the DNA and to the rituals that you would do with the founders. So one thing that we were doing and we weren't able to finish in the end was, imagine we have a wall with all these pictures of the ambassadors, we call them, and then ideally I'd like to have an AR applications where people could go with their camera and see all the pictures, and when they stop in one of the pictures of one of the ambassadors, they would see when the moment they took the picture, the interview they had, so that it allows you to to get a little bit of information on who was in the house and what did they do. Of course, then in another stage, which is the onboarding and the Coliver guidance, chatbots are the perfect companion for the guests. And when I say KB, I mean knowledge base. So you have a knowledge base. When someone arrives, they don't understand perfectly well how your co-living runs in terms of rules, but also in terms of what is the culture of the community there. So you have this knowledge base, and what you have to do, and ideally I think with chatbots, it's a great way to communicate this knowledge base to the co-liver. So examples. Well, you can, let's say you can have the chatbot talk to the co-liver 3-4 times per day, communicate in a specific point in your database. Say, for example, hey, Mike, did you know that this is like in the 7-Eleven near door, you can have free refill when you order one soda. Is that important? Well, maybe not, but it's part of the knowledge base that you might have in your specific house. Why is this important? Because you want everyone to feel part of the same community. And I have noticed that some people, when they arrive, maybe a week later, they know 90% of the things they should know. And other people stay with you for years, or maybe not years, but let's say months. And maybe they just know 10%. So you should use technology to be able to provide information and the knowledge to them in a way that in a few days and a few weeks, 90% of the things that should be known are already being known. In a way, you can measure it. So that chatbot, for example, I would design it as a mentor. I would give it personality. I would consider hiring a psychologist so that you could use that chatbot, to guide the co-liver in not only in the rules and everything, but also maybe in the personal growth that he should have inside of the space. And that's a different story, of course. Like, I'm a proponent that co-living should also have a component of personal growth for the co-liver. And that personal growth is dependent on the vertical that you are operating. In my case, startups. So again, and that chatbot has to give different information based on the stage of that of that coliver. Um, then, of course, another thing that a chatbot can provide is community-specific data, like the rules, like I mentioned, and I already said this knowledge about surroundings. And then another important thing is use technology to generate user content. Meaning, use your colivers to generate the most of the content that you do. How is that? Running events and generating content is difficult. If you're going to use your team to do that, you will have a problem in your bandwidth. It's difficult. So make it so that your colivers can know from the beginning what things they can do to start generating that content. Let me be more specific. There's an app where you can use this called WeDo. You can it's like Tinder. You can swipe events and say, hey, I could do a barbecue, or I could do a fireside talk inside of the space, or I could do like different events so that any coliver, when they join for the first time, immediately they know what they can provide to the community. And then you make them, or you allow them to own this how do you say, this event. Then, of course, you can allow them to do podcasts. You can allow them to do interviews inside. They can whatever. So very important, whatever you do here, use your people, your colivers to generate this content. So, of course, then you could also use technology to measure the engagement. For example, with IoT, what does that mean? Like simple things. If you have a noise sensor in a garage where I had the people, spending time, if there's noise after 10 p.m., then you know there's some engagement, of course. It might look very simple, but if you have all these specific little data points, you can just aggregate them. You can track participation in events with technology. You can use quizzes through the chatbot saying, hey, making sure you can guarantee that if someone knows what they should be knowing, like rules about other people inside the space, things about the city. You could also even use, there's a little bit, people might have some complaints, but I mean, potentially you can use AI to try to get the sentiment analysis and then decide and measure what's happening in terms of sentiment inside of the community. Technology, for example, in this category, you could also use it to, share expense between members, etc. These are just some examples. Second category, service quality. So the problem here is that, and customer satisfaction, typically we wait until the people leave and then complain. Why don't we use technology to start measuring what's happening at the moment? To me, a simple example to do this is, again, chatbots. But you can also use the sensors to measure noise. Like this is one thing that typically is very problematic. People complaining about noise. Yeah. Okay, I'll try to go faster, I guess.
Yes, technically speaking, we need to cut it now. But you can have like 1 or 2 maximum minutes. But I know like
2 minutes.
You want to give the max value.
Yeah,
I know you said at the beginning you love to talk. I know, and I wish these.
This is something I could talk for an hour, guys. Anyways, let me go really quick, super quick, and I can give specific examples. If anyone wants to talk to me, I can have a Skype with them, like whenever you want. Okay, I love talking about this. So you can use these sensors to measure noise, cleanliness, kitchen with AI sensors. We can say if something is tidy or it's not. Bathrooms with sensors knowing, hey, do you need toilet paper or whatever? Is it clogged? Is it dirty? People can just use IoT buttons to do this. Then the third category is the experience. And this is also nice, but this is more upscale, like room personalization. You could have smart frames so that whenever someone comes, they see pictures of their Facebook account, so they feel more at home. You could use humidity, temperature, air quality sensors. Open windows to make sure that the quality is good. Smart mattresses like 8 Sleep to measure the sleep quality. When we think about energy consumption, why are we not measuring, for example, water usage in a way that, hey, when you're using the shower too much, just change the color of the bathroom to say, hey, you're just using too much water. Of course, appliances, and then operations, using technology and IoT to measure your own operations and how do you say, processes. Like measuring certain KPIs on a dashboard. You could have a simulator to train your team and the onboarding. some sensors to trigger specific action. For example, if it starts raining, then generate an Asana template that tells the house manager to just go and use and put the furniture inside the and cover it, for example, and then that you can measure it. Okay, I was going to talk about privacy, and then, well, conclusion. Technology used like this is, think of it as a peace of mind. 90% should be on the radar. The space should magically work, and you should have enough data points to measure patterns, not specific things like, hey, we don't have toilet paper. It's how did it evolve the space in last month, for example? And it resolves trust issues with your team. So, and conclusion is, where's the system? There's the opportunity to build it. Really, really quick. Apologies for this. But again, maybe you can share my contact. I already put it on the chat, my LinkedIn, and always happy to talk technology with anyone.
Thank you, Carlos.
I can talk for hours.
Thank you. You're damn. I know you're also writing a lot on this topic. I highly recommend for anyone to check out Carlos' blog, Co-Living from the Trenches, where literally you're sharing 7 years of experience in there, which is, yeah, we're going to have to do another one of these, like just a 1-hour webinar where you're just going to juice on this topic. That's incredible.
Happy to do so.
Carlos, thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Yeah.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
And see you very soon.